In the past week, I have learned of two stories, one in Pittsburgh and one in Philadelphia, where there were fistfights after sporting events, and both were pretty ugly. And you'll see at the end of this video, as the video goes along, why I'm vlogging about it. Because this is something that has to stop. The first one occurred on Monday, January the 2nd in Philadelphia. They played an outdoor hockey game called the Winter Classic at Citizens Bank Park. The game was between the Philadelphia Flyers and the New York Rangers. New York won the game by a score of 3-2. And then after the game, a lot of people went over to a very popular place that makes Philadelphia cheesesteaks in Philadelphia called Geno's, which is in Center City. And at Geno's, a fight broke out between a person wearing a Philadelphia Flyers jersey, number 28, Claude Giroux, and a person wearing a New York Rangers jersey, number 24. I think the guy's last name is Callahan. Well, what happened from there was there were a lot more Flyer fans involved in the fight than Ranger fans, and the Rangers fan wearing the Rangers jersey was sent to the hospital with a concussion. And I'm not going to go through the details of the fight, but this fight probably happened because of alcohol. The other fight that popped up was on Saturday, January the 7th, and it was at the Consol Energy Center, which is the home of the Pittsburgh Penguins. They, too, were playing the New York Rangers that day, and the Rangers won by a score of 3-1. And what happened here was there were a couple of gentlemen coming down the escalator, going out to their car after the game, and they threw a beer can. And the beer can hit a gentleman and his wife. Now, this gentleman's wife was pregnant. They decided at that point to just ignore it. But then the two perpetrators started yelling insults to the gentleman's wife and using a few words that were not appropriate. And I'm not going to mention what they were, but they were not appropriate. So at that point, the wife, who was pregnant, decided to go up the down escalator, and her husband followed her. And next thing you know, the wife and the husband were throwing right hooks at two guys that had thrown the beer can and yelled the insults at them. Well, the guys that were the perpetrators fought back, and the young lady that was pregnant got a little bloodied. This is what the story was saying in the newspaper, and that too was more than likely because of alcohol. I mean, people just don't use dirty language and throw beer cans. Okay, beer cans, that is alcohol, if they're sober. And if they're just there enjoying their team win or lose. So it's easy to determine that alcohol was also the problem here. Now, the arenas and the teams could step up to the plate and get rid of this problem by banning alcohol sales at sporting events. Now, a lot of people are going to disagree with me on this. But Let me ask you a question, okay? A sporting event lasts approximately 3 hours. Don't tell me that you can't restrain yourself from drinking alcohol for 3 hours. You work, don't you? Well, while you're at work, you're not drinking alcohol. You're restraining yourself for 8 hours there. And what about weddings? Do you come to weddings drunk? There might be an odd one or two, and it's very rare. But generally, people will behave themselves because it's somebody else's wedding, and then they'll go get blitzed at the reception. But they don't do it at the wedding. You get guys that work as airline pilots. The airlines are now starting to put in rules. You cannot drink before you step into the cockpit of an airplane because people's lives are at stake here. And what about high school football? There's plenty of people that drink that go watch high school football games while their children playing those games. They don't even sell alcohol at those games. But you're there for 3 hours and you're enjoying watching a high school game. Your high school team might be the best team in the state, and you're watching them win the championship. But you don't drink there, so you're restraining yourself for 3 hours. So professional sports teams got rid of alcohol, and some of them, like baseball stadiums, they curtail the sale of alcohol after the 7th inning. That's a good thing, but they should curtail it during the entire game, period. And some hockey arenas will stop selling alcohol in between the first and third period, whether it be at the end of the second intermission or during the second period or at the end of the first intermission. They all do it differently. And some don't do it at all. Some just sell it till everybody goes home. But if they got rid of the alcohol sales, all you're doing is you're restraining yourself for 3 hours. Okay, have you ever driven on vacation? Point A to point B might be a 5-hour trip. Do you drink during that trip? Not many do, because they don't want to get into a wreck on the road. They restrain themselves. And that's what these arenas and sports teams need to do. They need to curtail alcohol sales. Now, some wise guy is going to get on there. He's going to say, well, they want to make a big profit on what they're selling. Well, raise the cost of other stuff. Okay, the cost of a hockey jersey can go up. The cost of Coca-Cola can go up. The cost of a hamburger can go up. You can recoup that. The cost of season tickets can go up. You can recoup the money from beer sales easy if you know how to do it. All we got to do is get rid of the alcohol sales at sporting events, and these fights won't happen. Because a person that's causing a fight at a place like Geno's after the game, that's probably not just drinking at the game. That's tailgating before the game and then drinking at the game. That's putting down a lot of alcohol to cause a person to act like that, because the normal human being does not act that way. It takes alcohol for them to do that, and that's the common denominator here. Let me know what you think. Put a message in the comments. And thank you for allowing me to bore you, and have a great day. Bye.